problems that our veteran community faces is with the mental health issue. This is something specifically, I work in the mental health field as a volunteer and I run a nonprofit. There's this discussion, I think is a problem of culture as well, is that people feel shame for taking on these social safety nets that we've created. And they feel that asking for help or going out to ask for help for the internal struggles they have is hard and they shouldn't do it because we tell people, if you're on welfare, you're a freeloader. Nah. These are systems we put in place for these specific reasons. So what we need to do is start changing the conversation around veterans. And there's no shame in having PTSD. There's no shame in being depressed or having agoraphobia and living and being in your room, in your house. Because ultimately what this comes down to is a lot of people are afraid to reach for that help. And so they stay home because they're afraid and the anxiety takes over. We need to start having the conversations. And obviously I mentioned the Volunteer Access Network. That can help with that. If you are within the armed services or reserves, or you have a special place in your heart for the veterans, you can go out and help those in your community. And by having that access network, you know who needs the help, you know where they are, and you know how you can specifically help. And on top of it, you get experience that you can take with you to the next job, the next application. Surrounding that for our families, we had a similar conversation. I can only personally really speak to the mental health aspect. Paul, as a veteran, can speak a lot more to the actual functioning of everything. But we need to change the conversation that happens around it because we are losing veterans every day to suicide. And it's disgusting that we aren't discussing it more because they went and fought for our freedoms, protected us, and we're thrown into these situations as young men or even as older men and officers and trying to come back from that to normal society and function as a normal human being is extremely, extremely difficult that we cannot understand. We also need to make sure that we understand that their experience, that their knowledge that they have, and just even basic organizational systems, as the Army and the Armed Forces are very regimented. These are valuable skills that we need to pick them out, from, like as Kim said, from the back of the line to the front of the line and say, hey, you have these valuable experiences. We need you to be paying this job as like a manager to help run the store or anything along those lines. So I think the first step is obviously changing the conversation, and the second step is really reaching out to the communities. And obviously the third step down the line is having legislation that makes sure that things like the VA actually function as intended and are not hamstrung by budget problems. And my girlfriend works in the VA as a psychiatrist, and she will tell you having to deal with the 5 or 6 different computer systems that exist within the VA alone is a nightmare. It is not easy to navigate for a doctor. Imagine how it is for a patient.
Thank you. All right.